Hello everybody and welcome back to Screen Stars, episode 6 of season 11 of The X-Files. Premiered this week. Managed to watch it now and excuse me. My thoughts are on this episode that I think this series has had a slight increase each episode, and I think each episode has been a slight improvement on the last up until this episode. Now that's not to say that I think this is a bad episode, because I don't. I just think it's not been as impressive as the last two or three before it. So what do we get with this episode? Well, it's called Kitten, and it actually guest stars Haley Joel Osment, who you will know from The Sixth Sense, the child actor and things. And this film focuses primarily on Walter Skinner. And at the initial start of the episode, it has Walter Skinner as a young man in the Vietnam War with Haley Joel Osment, and it shows that Haley Joel Osment certainly gets infected with like this, experimental gas. And then it jumps forward to present day, and Skinner is missing. Mulder and Scully are called in and sort of asked, "Okay, where's Skinner?" And they're like, "I don't know." So they basically go and find out where Skinner is, and Skinner is actually on the trail of his old comrade from Vietnam, who he suspects is killing people, murdering people. And it's all connected to this experimental gas that he was exposed to in Vietnam. What he actually finds is Haley Joel Osment, his character from Vietnam, his son, who's also played by Haley Joel Osment. Things don't go according to plan. Skinner is accused of killing these people by the local sheriff. Mulder and Scully need to clear his name, find out what's going on, etc, etc, etc. And that's kind of the story that we get with this episode. Now, what this episode felt like, I was watching an episode from like season 4 or 5. It felt like a very comfortable episode. It felt very familiar. We've probably seen episodes like this or similar to this many times previously in the X-Files. Like I've said before, it's difficult to come up with original ideas now on a show like this. But even though it didn't feel particularly original this episode, it was still good and enjoyable to watch. It was interesting that they focused this episode on Skinner, essentially to try and bring the dynamic and trust back into the relationship between him and Mulder and Scully, because it's been lost, that trust, somewhat in this series so far. So it was to highlight essentially his loyalty and commitment to them over the years, even though he's probably just going to double cross them later in the series, I'm guessing. Or I think he's doing the right thing by double crossing them, but ends up dropping the clanger. I suspect that's what's coming down the road. But essentially, this episode was to bring Mulder, Scully, and Skinner back together as a unit and get that trusting relationship working again. And it succeeds in that in a lot of ways. Haley Joel Osment is pretty impressive in this episode. If a little unsinister, I thought it could have been maybe a little bit more sinister. It wasn't. It tried to be scary this episode, but it just wasn't. So there are elements of this episode that really worked, and there are elements that I just don't think worked particularly well, but didn't fall flat on the face. So it's one of those middle of the roady, bang averagey episodes of the X-Files that's pretty good to watch, pretty enjoyable, but pretty forgettable at the same time. But yeah, I can't say I was disappointed with the episode, because I wasn't, because I thought they gave us a very familiar looking X-Files episode where all the wheels are turning, all the cogs are turning, and everything makes a bit of sense here. So I've given it a slight drop on the score. It's back down to an 8.2 now with this episode. But I'm still hopeful that the series is going to push on and go from strength to strength. We've got 4 episodes left, so it's plenty of time. Please can we have a Creature of the Week episode though, guys? I'm really missing those.